Hello, Sweet Tooth and Flutter Pyrox is here playing Phoenix Attorney.
You're an attorney.
Ace Wright.
Righto, my boy.
Righto, my boy. Righto, my boy. Yeah. And where are the defendant lobby number 5?
Good morning, Matt.
Oh, yeah. Good morning, my sweeties. You don't seem like your usual sparkling self today. I am always like this before I go in front of an audience. I am working up to it.
Time?
Huh?
Did you guys bring in milk this time?
You bring them.
Remember?
Yeah. You have milk.
Don't get nervous, Maxie. Here, I have a glass of milk.
Oh, yay.
Regina!
How fabulous, my sweetie pie princess. You came to watch my performance today?
Of course I did. Mo told me that I should come and watch this.
Mo said that?
So, what kind of performance will you put on today? Oh yes, you fly at the end?
It's not that kind of show. Isn't that right, my sweeties?
Huh?
I think my sweetie pie princess doesn't...
I get the feeling Mo sent her to get a sense of reality.
Yeah, reality check.
Yeah.
Yeah, she doesn't seem to realize what's going on or even where she is.
Like, Mo still thinks he did it, so she's probably expecting that Max will get taken away in front of her.
Yeah.
But isn't that kind of a mean way of reality check?
Nah, I think it's perfect. Shows her the state of what's happening right now.
Well, Max, it looks like it's time to raise the curtain. I'll see you later. Today I'm just a member of the audience.
Fabulous! Enjoy yourself out there.
Good luck, Max. You're the best. Regina's different, don't you think, Nick?
Top of the morning to ya. Everybody, let's get ready to get stuck in legal limbo. How low can you go? Mo. Top of the morning to you, governor.
Well, also, if Regina does anything during the time that he's sent away, she might get held in contempt.
Yeah. Top of the morning. That's the ticket. Attacking the day starts with energy in the morning. The yellow bird gets the worm, but then again, worms lack higher brain function. Here, Max. I brought you a present. You have some milk. Oh my. Thanks.
Everyone brought him milk.
So how are you today, Wright? Well, I've got the feeling that today I'm going to face off against the real culprit. You mean Acro.
Huh? You think he did it?
Be careful. He's used to putting his life on the line, literally. He's got guts to spare. All I've got to worry about is how thin the type rope is. I'm used to it already. It just means that I won't be able to press him like I can other witnesses.
Oh, so he might not slip out. What are you going to do then, Nick? It's like you won't have nerves whenever you're just hitting with sitting questions. I guess today we'll have to go with
our usual psychological warfare. Today we rely on evidence. It's the only way we'll get past Acro and to the truth.
You're right, but it's gonna be tough.
Anyways, I want you to make sure that Regina sees it all today. It's important. Then she'll finally have to deal with the reality of what happened to her father.
Oh. You want us to make sure Regina watches?
Yes, that's why I brought her here today to court. What's that supposed to mean? She needs to know that when people die, they don't just become stars. I may be an old-fashioned clown, but I don't believe in people becoming stars. Court is now in session for the trial of Maximilian Galactica.
The prosecution's ready, Your Honor.
The defense is ready, Your Honor. Very well, Miss Von Karma, you may proceed with your case.
The prosecution would like to revise its previous theory of events.
What's the meaning of this?
We have discovered a new witness, or shall I say, a new eyewitness. One that saw Maximilian Galactica fly off from the scene of the crime. In other words, we can't just trust Mo seeing the magician do his signature trick. We need at least 2 people saying he did.
Yeah. Order, order. I had a feeling something like this would come up.
Due to this revision, we are now prepared to explain how the defendant flew that night. An explanation the prosecution will present if the need arises. In fact, my detective stayed up all night creating a mock-up of the scene on my orders.
Poor Gumshoe.
So Gumshoe spent all day listening to Mo, then got to make a mock-up of the scene of Maximilian Galactica flying.
Very well. Please call your witness to the stand. Time to get to work, or shall I say, time to walk the courtroom tightrope.
Name and occupation.
Ken Dingling, but everyone calls me Acro. And in the future, I will be Bastion, considering all the birds that keep crawling all over me.
One day he just becomes Bastion. This is why Bastion loves birds so much. He secretly has a bit of Ken Dingling in him.
I'm employed as an acrobat at the Very Big Circus.
I was also thinking about Dragon Ball, number 16 I think it was.
Oh.
Where were you the night of the crime?
I was in my room that night.
How did you get these birds in the courtroom? If you look at the map, you will see the witness's room is near the crime scene. He has still hasn't switched with Mo, and the lodging house only houses 2 people.
Only houses 2 people.
Apparently.
Then why is this 3rd floor?
Why is this a lodging house, and why are there 3 floors? And what in the world's going on? What happened to all the other rooms in the house?
That's weird. My room is on the 3rd floor. The crime scene is below my window.
The night of the crime, the witness saw something quite shocking. Would you tell us what you witnessed?
Okay.
You're just like, I'm rolling with the punches here.
What I witnessed. It was just after 10 p.m. and I was resting in my bed. Around that time, I heard a large thump noise from outside the window. Then a few moments later, I saw someone flying right by my window. It was Max Galactica. I only saw him from behind, but that's who it looked like. To be honest, when I saw that, I thought I was dreaming. This witness's testimony matches up exactly with that of the clown.
If that's the case, there's very little the prosecution need add. All that's left is to explain how the defendant disappeared into the sky that night.
Before we get that far, I'd like to cross-examine a witness.
A foolish choice by a foolish fool who wishes to feel the foolish sadness of a sad fool.
Stop it.
A man must know the proper timing for things, Mr. Phoenix Wright. Just like your old friend, Mr. Miles Edgeworth did.
Mr. Wright, do you have a problem with the witness's testimony? In the words of Miss Von Karma, may I quote yesterday's proceedings? There's no way that actually happened. Very well, you may proceed with your cross-examination. Boom, boom, boom. Alright. You said that you were resting in bed. One would thus assume that you turned the lights off in your room, correct? That is correct. But there are safety lights around the outside of the lodging house. It's so bright, sometimes it can make it hard to sleep. If that's the case, wouldn't it be a good idea to close some curtains? I never really thought of that. I guess that means I'm off to buy some curtains. Haha. Sometimes I do make myself useful in these chambers. Ow!
This witness will proceed with his testimony.
Around that time I heard a large thump. Your room is on the 3rd floor, right? Yes. And you said that you were resting in bed? That is correct.
Wait, how'd he get back in his chair? If he can't stand up, and he was resting in bed, how'd he get back in the chair himself?
But you were still able to hear a sound from outside? That was indeed. Pressing acro doesn't seem to get results. But maybe something was contradictory in what he said just now. There is a huge contradiction with the testimony that was just given.
If there's a contradiction, then prove it with evidence.
She's right. Let's see some evidence. Do you have any evidence to support your claim of a contradiction?
Ow. You just don't get it, do you, Mr. Phoenix Wright?
What don't I get?
You're not going to be able to get through this one with your usual bluff routine. Your client looks to be ready to take off once again. Straight towards a guilty verdict.
You were bluffing? I will not forgive any more mockeries made of this court. Whoops.
Witness, would you mind repeating your testimony?
Certainly. That's not penalized?
Apparently. Probably because the judge is too confused.
Alright. It's awfully nice.
I feel kind of weird. It seems like they just sometimes just choose not to penalize you for things, and then sometimes they just decide it's worth more all of a sudden.
Yeah, 4 bars. It's not very consistent.
Probably thought Mo was too helpful, and so they didn't want you pressing him all over.
Are you sure? Yeah. They're probably like, he'll just get, his character design is just to give you all the facts. So make it to where something will happen if he tries to say anything.
Yeah. So it's a bit harder. Because he is actually trying to give you the information. Granted, he forgot something, but still. Trying to help.
Yeah. Are you sure it was a human being? It could have been a mannequin or perhaps a large action figure. Well, setting aside the possibility of a mannequin, an action figure is plausible.
You have no need to mince words with Mr. Phoenix, Wright? Testify the truth and only the truth, just as if we were there with you that night.
I believe it was a human. Damn, that just strengthened his testimony. I wonder if accurate statement jives with the facts.
But you're allowed to just do this on every statement.
Every single statement. Okay, so let's see. Is there anything that it feel like I can go against? Because me pressing's not really going to reveal anything, but I should say the contradiction on something.
There should be a point where he says he sees something there that wasn't there while you're pressing him.
Oh, really?
I'm trying to give you a hint without saying entirely what it is.
Well, I'm on this one, I guess. The light in your room was turned off then, right? That's true. I was going to bed after all. So with the lights off, you were still able to clearly see a human fly by your window? The safety lights lit things up enough for me to see. But honestly, there was only enough light for me to see the silhouette outside my window. It was the person's back, so I couldn't see the white roses on the front. Did you see any of the other symbols? I clearly saw the silk hat, as well as the cloak wrapped around his body. I'm convinced that the person I saw was Max Galactica. The more I press him, the less results I seem to get. When did you start thinking that you saw wasn't a dream?
That's not important.
I believe that the prosecution has done a bit of maintenance on the witness's memory. Just to make sure, let's ask the witness. Ow!
Objection.
Sustained. I sustained that.
Aqua must be lying about what he saw, right?
Of course he is. Now the challenge will be to expose his lies in court.
Well, put the pedal to the metal, Nick.
Let's see.
If there's a contradiction, then prove it with evidence.
Alright.
Is there something in his testimony that he shouldn't have been able to see?
Oh. You claim to have seen the exact same thing Mo saw that night. Do you stand by that? What do you mean? The silk hat. It fell off. What about the silk hat? I saw it on Max's head as he flew by my window. Well, you should have tried looking down out of your window that night. That would have been quite difficult considering the state that I'm in. Just looking outside of the window was a tough enough challenge for me. That's a shame because you would have noticed the silk hat found on the scene. That's a ringmaster's hat, right? Left, right, not. No matter how you look at it, this is Max's silk hat. Where are you going with this, Mr. Wright? Are you saying that Max has two silk hats? No, this is a handmade, one-of-a-kind model made only for Maximilian Galactica. Which means, Acro, that you've been fibbing on the sand. Order, order.
As always, it looks like someone just had to open their mouth before thinking. Are you okay, Nick?
Well, I opened my big mouth. Now I have to back it up. How about it, Mr. Wright? What would cause this witness to commit perjury in this court? Should I say he's a culprit right now?
You can if you want to.
Your Honor, on this occasion, the defense accuses Acro himself.
On this occasion.
Accuses Acro? What in the world are you accusing him of? Obviously, we accuse him of the murder of Mr. Russell Berry. Mr. Wright, are you serious? Deadly serious, Your Honor.
I think your trips to the circus have served you well. You seem to have learned how to try and grab at the audience's hearts and minds. Your Honor, don't allow yourself to be swayed by theatrics. Trying to wow the crowd with smoke and mirrors is the oldest bluff in the book.
But really?
If you don't believe me, just look at the witness. He's calm enough for it to be almost scary.
He is staying rather calm and collected.
The first poking at your head.
Mr. Dingling, do you have any response to the defense's accusation? I don't really need to say a thing, do I? What do you mean? Everyone, take a good look at me. I can't even stand up by myself, let alone leave the lodging house. That's true. I understand that Mr. Wright is just trying to help his client. But to do this by accusing me of a murder, of all things.
Why are you doing this? See, even a sliver of common sense makes it clear the accusation is ludicrous.
She's right. Way to pick on a disabled, you heartless, cruel man. Phoenix is a poopy head.
You know, what if you see the same people that saw your other cases?
Yeah.
Why are they all so mad at you all the time? See that, Mr. Wright?
I don't know.
If you're trying to drum up support from the peanut gallery, that's how you do it. I think that's enough of this little game. I got a doctor's note to confirm that Acro is unable to stand under his own power. Maybe the defense is planning on making a claim to counter this as well. I can hear the defense now. Acro had an accomplice.
What do you say about this, Mr. Wright? Did Acro have an accomplice? I'm gonna say no. Because he has a lot of upper body strength, so if it was wires, he'd be able to lift it.
Now then, this must be when we get to hear the name of the mystery accomplice.
Not this time, Bon Karma.
What?
You're not going to sucker me into this one. What are you blabbering about, Mr. Wright? There was no accomplice. Acro planned and committed this murder all by himself. Order! Order! What are you getting at?
Way to keep them on their toes, Nick.
Now I'm going to have to prove how it all fits together. I have to show how Acro murdered Russell Berry.
Can you do it, Nick? Can you really do that?
I know what I can't do. I can't stop now. If I stop attacking, I'm doomed.
Alright, then let's do it. Mr. Phoenix Wright. If this witness is a killer, then its eyewitness account is all lies, right?
Mr. Wright, I'd like you to clear something up for me. When the crime was committed, exactly where was Mr. Dingling? In his room. He was obviously here the entire time. That's Acro's room? Pretty simple, eh? Acro wasn't able to leave the lodging house by himself.
That automatically creates an alibi for him.
Yeah. In that case, there can be only one correct answer. Acro didn't leave his room to kill the ringmaster.
What? Are you nuts?
What say you, Mr. Dingling?
Why are you calling him Mr. Dingling? You call Max by Galactica. Why aren't you calling this guy by Acro?
It's an interesting theory. That's it. Considering that what you propose is impossible, yes, that's it. Mr. Wright? Yes, Your Honor. As the witness has stated, your assertion is impossible. As he is in a wheelchair, there is no way he could go to the scene or be the killer.
Because wheelchair people are never killers, ever.
You got a point.
It seems you've forgotten once again, Mr. Phoenix Wright. The defendant was clearly spotted at the scene of the crime. That's true. Mo said that he saw Max, didn't he?
But Maya, it's still impossible for humans to fly. Do you mind if I ask a question, Mr. Wright? What is it? I understand some of your logic. However, how do you think that I killed him? If I can't leave my room, I obviously couldn't wear Max's costume. How did he do it? That's the next course of this legal buffet.
Be careful, Nick. If you mess up here...
She's right. I can't mess up here. Gotta give this some serious thought. I'm sure that Acro killed the ringmaster, and he did it while he was in his room, no doubt about it. Time to enlighten us as to how Mr. Dingling committed the murder. The crime, Mr. Wright. Gotta present evidence.
Present all the evidence.
I'm going to present some evidence. So what did Mr. Dingling use to commit the crime of murder against Russell Berry? Pepper.
Assault with pepper?
A lion. His monkey. Maybe I should say the chest? Or the note?
What did he use?
The chest, right?
I think he's talking about the weapon. Right? I don't know. That's what I assume was the weapon.
Alright, fine.
You should try again, especially before someone gets the else gets the chance to say something.
Yeah, you're probably right. So as I was saying, this piece of evidence... Stop, wait, I say. Before you start over, you must be penalized. If you don't put an end to this funny business, I got a few more ideas. Gonna present some evidence. No, it wasn't a note either.
Is it the murder weapon?
Murder weapon?
Yeah, it's asking what did he use to murder him.
I don't really know that, do I?
What do you have that could be used as a weapon then? Drop from that height.
Oh, so it is that. What's that? A picture? It is indeed. The problem is with the item that's shown in the picture. The bust? It's quite a large bust, and because it is life-sized, it is also very, very heavy.
Heavy?
Heavy enough to guarantee a certain death. Especially if it was dropped from a third-story window.
Ah.
See? This is how Acro was able to kill the Ringmaster. With the force of gravity and Maximilian Galactica's ample bust.
Do you really have to describe it like that?
Order, order. So you're saying the bust fell onto the Ringmaster? A rather simple crime. Even if you were stuck in a wheelchair, it would be incredibly easy to commit.
How could you possibly wheel a wheelchair with something so heavy? It's impossible.
Well, Acro is an acrobat. He should have more than enough upper body strength to carry something like the bust. Mr. Dingling, how do you respond to these charges? Well?
Acro's at a loss for words.
He should be. He knows that I'm getting close to the truth. Well, 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 Acro. You can't run away. Ow!
I'd watch what I say if I were you, Mr. Wright.
What?
Your Honor, the physical health of the witness is material to this case. I demand we get proper testimony from the witness himself.
Testimony, you say? Von Karma. She's just using his testimony as a rouse to stall for time. There is absolutely no need for such testimony.
The defense has its version of the murder. The prosecution has a right to respond.
The defense's objection is overruled. Why can't he see things my way once in a while? Mr. Dingling, I'm sorry, but we need you to testify about your physical condition. If you have any doubts about your ability to testify, we can request expert testimony.
The witness will have no problems. However, let's all be respectful towards him.
Thank you. That woman will sink to any low to win a case. Acro's physical state. I suppose I could have lifted something the size of that bust. I have a strong upper body from working as an acrobat, and only my legs were injured. However, lifting the bust and looking out the window would have been impossible. There's no way I could have exerted that kind of force on my lower body. That makes it impossible for me to have known the location of the Ringmaster's head. Thus, it would be unrealistic for me to drop the bust on him, don't you think? I have no doubts in regards to this witness's testimony.
It was impossible for him to lift the bust and stick him out far enough to look. Not to mention that he could not have known the location of the Ringmaster's head. A single false step would have led to even more severe injuries.
That's what I was thinking. What is your opinion on the matter, Mr. Wright? I still like to proceed with my cross-examination.
He's simply stalling. It's shameful, really.
Grr. I can't let her get to me. I've got to focus. Bum, ba, ba, da, ba, bum. Alright, so I suppose I could have lifted something the size of the bust. Strong upper body. However, lifting the bust and looking out the window would have been impossible. That makes it impossible for me to have known the location. Oh, I gotcha. Acro! You didn't really need to lean out the window, did you? What are you driving at, Mr. Wright? You already knew ahead of time where the ringmaster's head was going to be. Quite precisely, I may add.
Your silly hinting at things is pointless, Mr. Phoenix Wright. Enough stalling. How about you show us some evidence?
But I did such a good job hinting. Yes. Hurry up and explain things, Mr. Wright. Maybe you should take a look at this. The key point here is the wooden box. The same wooden box that the victim was found hunched over? The same. The question is, who placed the wooden box here? When Ben and company saw the ringmaster, they didn't see him holding the box. Which means that this wooden box was already placed at the scene of the crime. I have to admit that your theory makes a lot of sense. The moment that the bust came falling down was exactly the same moment that the ringmaster lifted up this wooden box. Which means that the answer to all these questions is now crystal clear.
You mean?
If the bust were to fall upon the point marked out by the wooden box, there would be no way that it could miss the head of the victim.
No.
Order. This is unbelievable. Finally, some of these loose ends are starting to tie themselves up. Now I just gotta keep going, and there's only one way to go from here, forward. So the next question I have is, who placed that wooden box at the scene? It was Mr. Dingling, of course. He connected it to a rope, and then all he had to do was lower it down. Ow!
Allow me to whip some sense into you.
Ow!
The ringmaster's head could have been anywhere when he lifted the box.
That's why the box was so specially made.
Specially made?
Indeed. It had the most peculiar future. The weight.
The box is heavy.
The box has a remarkable weight.
Weight?
According to the court record, it weighs 20 pounds. Just to lift up this wooden box would have required... Oh, I see. One would have to squat down, then lift it up with their body, wouldn't you say? That's exactly what I was trying to point out. The box is also very large. The box also has carrying handles on either side, doesn't it? That is correct. To lift up the box, you'd have to squat down. Which means that no matter who you are, your head would be in approximately the same place.
Fool.
Ooh!
I like how she calls you fool even when you're getting things right.
Yeah. Does he even bother to listen to me anymore? I've heard what you've had to say. I must admit, I'm shocked at your imaginative skills. Did you do it? Did you place this wooden box in the plaza? Mr. Wright may have a vivid imagination, but I could never have done what he is proposing. What? Mr. Wright, do you recall the original location of Max's bust? Yeah? Of course I remember. It was on top of the table in the cafeteria. Then what happened to it? I'd like you to remember one important fact, Mr. Wright. I could not possibly leave the lodging house by myself.
Ah, that means...
You understand what I mean, don't you? I may very well have been able to drop the bust from my room, However, how would I have gotten the bus from the cafeteria to my room?
You see, Mr. Phoenix Wright, explain that. Don't forget, you said there was no accomplice.
Arrgh!
Tell us exactly how the witness would have carried the bus from the cafeteria.
Yep, we definitely have a problem here. But this is no place to get perplexed. I've got to get my wits about me and prove how things happened once and for all. Alright, Mr. Wright, let's hear your explanation. How did the witness get the bus from the cafeteria back to the room? The monkey?
Yeah, he carries anything shiny.
Yeah. A monkey? Everyone knows money. He loves shiny objects of any kind, size. Oh, like when he stole the ventriloquist ring.
So, are you saying the witness had a monkey steal the bust?
Of course, he didn't order the monkey to steal it. The monkey stole it on his own and then brought it back home. Home? Money lives in Acro's room. Acro's room?
The bus was bronze, wasn't it? Bronze isn't all that shiny.
Maybe you should put the whip down sometimes and read the court record. My, those are some very nice cards he's holding. Yes, and they are made of platinum, which is very shiny.
Ugh.
Acro! Money is a strong monkey, right? It'd be easy for him to bring the bus back to your room. If he wasn't able to handle that himself, I'd be on the market for a new roommate. Order, order, I said order. Miss Von Karma, where is the bust in question at this moment?
I don't know. We're searching for it as we speak.
This is a rather strange turn of events. But let's say that the monkey had not stolen the bust. What would have happened then? Well, in that event, something else would have been used as the murder weapon.
Wait. Then you mean this bus was a murder weapon purely by accident?
It's possible. Maybe Acro saw Money's mountain of stolen goods and thought to use one of them. Anyways, I think we've got more than proven one critical fact. Namely, that it was entirely possible that Acro was the murderer.
Moron.
Mr. Wright's argument was so circular, I'm still a bit dizzy. However, his argument does hold water. There's no denying that. Ow!
Don't seem so flamboozled, especially by this fraud of an attorney.
Fraud?
You've forgotten the absolute most important thing, Mr. Phoenix Wright.
And what is that?
You should know. You forgot your fraud of a magical client was spotted at the scene of the crime.
Ah!
There's no reason to doubt the clown's testimony.
That's true. How do you respond to that, Mr. Wright?
Nick, don't let her beat you now.
I won't. This is my chance to turn this trial around.
When the murder occurred, there was 2 people at the scene of the crime. One was the victim, Russell Berry. The other was the murderer himself. Answer this and only this, Mr. Phoenix Wright. Who was the murderer the clown saw?
The bust. he saw Max's ow!
I asked who was the other person Mo saw in the scene. That evidence has nothing to do with the question.
Objection!
Au contraire, mon frère. Mon frère. It does indeed have something to do with the question. Mo said that he saw Max's silhouette. But he did not actually see the man himself. It wasn't a human being he saw. How is that possible? It's simple, really. What Mo actually saw that night was Max's bust. His ample bust.
What are you talking about? Have you tried using your brain at all in this case? The silhouette he saw was wearing a cloak.
There's no reason why you couldn't attach a cloak to the bust. It would be easy to hang one off of the cards in the bust's hands.
Idiot, who in the right mind would put a cloak on a bust?
It doesn't matter who put it on the bust. Just wait a minute now, Mr. Wright. Who put the cloak on the bust? That question is of the utmost importance to this case, don't you agree? Nope, he caught me. Oh my gosh. So let's have it, Mr. Wright. Who put the cloak on the bust? It's gotta be Acro, right?
Did Acro put the cloak on there? How would he have gotten it?
No, Max did, didn't he?
Max wasn't there.
No, Max wasn't there.
The ringmaster took his cloak and wore it out.
Regina?
Where would Regina have gotten Max's cloak? Ringmaster was the only one with his cloak at the time.
Oh.
But why would he put it on the bus? If he was wearing it.
I don't know. Maybe the monkey? No.
Apparently one of the cards could have acted like a fishing hook. If it was easy to hang off there.
Maybe I should try Acro?
Not sure where Acro would have gotten the bus from though. Could try him. I wonder, Mr. Phoenix Wright. Didn't the defendant wear his cloak the entire time he was at practice? So then how did this person get a hold of the cloak?
Well.
Furthermore, how would this person have gotten the cloak onto the bust, I wonder? Because this person was not spotted at the scene.
I'm sorry. Ow!
Famous Bon Karma, carrot and whip approach.
Oh my gosh.
Fool him?
Really? That was right, correct?
Which one?
The ringmaster?
He was the only one with the cloak, so I think he'd be the only one that could.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah.
Fool him?
You were saying it was the victim himself, Russell Berry? That's what I'm saying.
I mean, the victim himself placed the cloak on the bus.
Place the cloak isn't really the right way of putting it. What would be the right way of putting it, Mr. Wright?
Explain yourself. Nick, do you really have a handle on all this?
I'm fine, Maya. I'm finally putting all the pieces together. There's really only one picture I can paint anyways. Alright. So you want to know what really happened that night? Let's step back in time. Acro used a rope to lower the wooden box onto the scene. Then he attached that rope to the bust and dangled the bust out of his bedroom window directly above the wooden box. At the same time, the ringmaster told Max to wait in his room and went to the scene. Of course, at the time, the ringmaster was wearing Max's costume. Perhaps he didn't want anyone to recognize him that night. But just as he feared, he was spotted at the entrance of the lodging house by none other than a ventriloquist and his puppet, Ben and Trilla. When the ringmaster arrived at the scene, he bent over to lift the wooden box. And that's when Acro took his chance and released the rope. Now this is when the magic happens. At the very instant that the bus hit the victim,
You just wait a second there, Mr. Phoenix Wright. As much as you try, as much as you scheme, this just isn't true. It can't be.
It's still a little early to be getting so upset, Miss Von Karma. This circus isn't over yet.
What?
The impact of the bust on the victim threw the cloak up, which snagged onto the bust. That impact also caused the sound a certain witness heard, prompting him to take a look. That witness was, of course, Lawrence Moe Curls, the clown. When Moe looked out the window, the cloak had already snagged onto the bust. Now, having completed the crime, Acro naturally went about pulling up the murder weapon. Of course, he had no idea that Moe saw the bust being raised with the cloak dangling on it. Primarily because in his wheelchair, he couldn't see out of his window. So he just kept pulling the bust up. And that is how the magical murderer disappearing into the sky came to be. So you see, the only person who could have pulled this off is the one person who was able to drop the murder weapon from above the crime scene. Acro! It could only have been you.
Still playing with the birds. Acro's been playing mind games with all of us.
He sure has. But he has come to the end of his rope now.
So?
What now?
You've graced us with a rather long-winded tale. Do you have any evidence to prove that your fairy tale is true?
Evidence?
In this court, only two things matter. The power of evidence and the power of my whip.
Don't forget the power of my gavel as well. Mr. Wright, the prosecution brings up a good point. Can we see some evidence? Evidence? What's with all this evidence all the time?
Nick, they say they want evidence.
I always want evidence. I just explained how can only be one possible murder method. But there's still something unusual about Moe's eyewitness account.
Unusual?
A contradiction, actually.
Okay then, use that and get out of this jam.
That's enough talking amongst yourselves. Proceed, Mr. Wright. Send some evidence to the court that backs your claims. I want hard proof that you have unraveled the trick to this magic case. Let's see, what do I present?
It has to be what contradicts most testimony. What was most testimony then? There's two options you can give. Both Mo and Acro's testimonies had the same problem. What would be explained if the bus was at the scene?
If the bus would be at the scene?
If the bus was really what they saw, what would be explained that was the problem their testimony before?
I mean, maybe this one? No. Yeah. The problem is Max's three symbols. Oh, right, the symbols game. You know, the silk hat, the cloak, and the white robe. Oh, the hat. Right. Oh, I got it. Those symbols were a problem numerous times during yesterday's proceedings. Yesterday, there were two contradictions in Mo's testimony.
The silk hat was one, the white roses were the other.
But the theory I just presented explains all these contradictions.
You fool. Do you ever shut up?
Max's silk hat was found at the scene of the crime. However, remember what Mo said yesterday. He testified that the criminal he saw fleeing the scene was wearing a silk hat. There's only one explanation for that. The silk hat that Mo saw was actually the bust's. Makes sense. If you look at it that way, then he did see the silk hat. Well, sort of.
Fine, you've got one, but what about the other contradiction?
The other contradiction?
Remember what that ventriloquist said in court? He said that he witnessed the white roses on Max's chest that night. The clown's testimony doesn't match. The clown said that there was no white roses. I'd like to see you try and explain that one away. Can you do it, Nick?
Of course, I can explain all of it.
What was that?
Please recall the instant when the cloak snagged onto the bust. If the cloak snagged onto the bust, what happened to the roses? Do you get it yet? If the cloak got snagged onto the front of the bust, it means that the white roses would end up on the back of the bust. which explains why Mo didn't see them. The white roses were not visible because they were on the backside of the bust. Order!
Order!
This is quite the shocking state of affairs. Mr. Wright's theory still sounds a bit absurd to me. However, let's just keep going down this road for a while and see where it leads.
Let's do this, Nick. Maybe then Bon Carmen will finally throw in the towel. Oh, the real estate people are trying to call us. Is your phone? Well, so much for that theory. You too?
Yeah. Mr. Wright, do you mind? What is it? You took the time to research our circus, didn't you? Well, yes I did. Is there something making you think that I didn't? If you did, then maybe you'll understand why I think you're off track. Why is that?
Motive. The witness feels an incredible debt of gratitude towards the ringmaster. Anyone with any relation to the circus is well aware. Thus, there's absolutely no way someone like this would kill the ringmaster. Your Honor, I'd like you to hear Akro's story. Learn about his relationship with his ringmaster and his life up till now. What do we do? There's absolutely no doubting Akro deeply respected the ringmaster.
Akro's motive. Seems that this case isn't over yet. Very well. However, I feel this is a good place to take a break. I will listen to the rest of Mr. Dingling's testimony after I recess. This court will now take a 10-minute recess. To be continued. Continue. All right.
Mr. Wright.
Mr. Wright. All right. I'm actually at the last piece of this, the motive. We're almost there.
Yep, almost done.
All right. Want to thank you for watching. We'll pick it up in the next one. Hope you have yourself a good day. Feel free to leave a comment.
Someone's cute.
Have a good one.